I want to make sure that we understand something. Like, the most ineffective teachers and coaches are ones that try to do everything, right? And they stand for nothing. Like, the best coaches, we say you are what you emphasize, okay? So we threw a lot at you here today. It's going to be on film. You need to help your coaches find what's going to work for them, right? So, like, here's the 3 individual drills that we know we're going to be able to do every single day, all right? If you're teaching an offense, that 5-on-0 is simple, but it's going to take time. We tell our players and our coaches, you have to learn to train ugly. Train ugly. That means there's going to be some ugliness that you got to get through with that 5-on-0, although it seems simple to us, for them to feel good about it. But what I think is most important is that was 90 minutes of stuff. Find what works for you, find what works for your coaches, and ultimately that's how they're going to feel empowered. Like, if we just tell them you got to do this drill, this drill, this drill, that's how they're going to feel empowered, by doing it on their own. I want to finish with a couple nuggets that we share with all of our coaches and our staff, both at our camp and at Souderton as well. The first thing is, like, we believe that standards are greater than rules, okay? You can have all the rules that you want, but the more rules you create, the more it sometimes is going to put you in a corner, okay? And we tell our coaches we don't ever want them to have to sign a contract with 17 different rules on it. Our rule is be respectful. Be respectful. We want all of our students to be respectful. What falls under that? Being on time, being a good teammate, being a coachable, being respectful to the officials. Like, have standards instead of rules. The second thing we talk about is be demanding without being demeaning. The best coaches are able to get kids to work really hard for 2 hours and be demanding about a standard, but not be demeaning about what they're not doing well. That's ultimately how you're going to empower them and get the most out of them as student athletes. The third thing we talk about is, you all have heard all of these before, but we want to praise in public, all right? Praise in public and criticize in private. So most of the time we tell our coaches, when you're coaching, you don't need to yell across the floor that they did something wrong. They probably know they did something wrong, right? Let them know when they come off the floor. Give them 11 seconds. We say it's not going to forfeit the game if, when they come off the floor, you take 11 seconds to say, hey, you could have looked at it this way, all right, in private. They don't need to hear it across the field. They already know they messed up, right? The other thing is be vulnerable. As coaches, oftentimes we think we need to know everything. We don't, right? When you're able to be vulnerable to your student athletes, and for you guys to your coaches, that you don't have all the answers, right? That starts eliciting followership. Like, they want to run through a wall for you because you're vulnerable about the things you might not know. It also creates accessibility for them to say, hey, maybe we could do it this way, coach. All right, maybe we could practice this drill. Filling the gap. We talk about this all the time to our leaders and to our coaches. In any relationship, communication's key. When there's a gap in communication, the other person fills it in with negativity. Think about a spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend. When you put off that conversation, they fill it in with negativity. Now think about if you're a student athlete and you get subbed out of the game and you go sit on the bench and the coach doesn't say anything to you. There's a gap in that communication. What do they fill it in with? The coach doesn't think I'm good enough. They will always fill it in with negativity. So we say you got to fill that gap in. Whenever you see there's that gap in communication, and fill it in and be honest and transparent about what they need to do. Coaching bullets, not paragraphs, okay? That's what we say. Lines stifle growth, and long speeches. I know I'm talking a lot right now, right? But try to coach in bullets, not paragraphs. As soon as you start doing long speeches, after 2.5 minutes, they checked out. They're done, right? In a basketball game, you have a 10-minute halftime. It drives me crazy, and I'm waiting for the teams to come out, and there's 30 seconds left. You've talked for 9.5 minutes. They were done after 2 minutes. Coaching bullets, not paragraphs. The last thing is that question that we try to get our coaches to ask themselves all the time is, what does it feel like to be coached by me? The best coaches audit their performance, their X and O performance. I could have done this, I could have called a timeout. But the transformational coaches audit what the experience is that they're creating in their gym each and every single day, and asking themselves, what's it feel like if you're the 14th best player? What does it feel like if you're the best player? And we said it earlier, like the best players, like they feel good about themselves already. They're getting all the shots, they're getting all the touches. But you're never going to create a commensurate experience with the 14th best player and the first best player. They're never going to have the same experience, right? We have 1,300 athletes at Souderton. Of the 1,300 athletes, 200 are happy with their role. 200 of them are happy with the touches they're getting, all right? I'm not a math person, but like 1,100 want to be, if they're on JV, they want to be on varsity. If they're the 7th man on the team, they want to be the 4th best player, all right? So that being the case, it's incumbent upon the coach to ask themselves what it feels like to be coached by them. What experience are they creating? How many verbal touches of communication are they getting each and every single day from coach to player? Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys.